What is up, future millionaires? Welcome back to my channel. It's your girl, mommy of 5, new mom of my 5th child, Ellie talks money. Okay, in today's video we're going to be talking about how to prepare yourself to move abroad. I've been getting a lot of questions about what life has been like living in Senegal. You guys know I've been here almost a year now, running my business, doing all the things. And a lot of you guys are like, Ellie, I might want to move abroad too. So I want to talk to you guys today about just some of the core, or key basics that you need to understand in order to prepare for what moving abroad could look like. And I'll probably make this a little series, so I want you guys to comment down below what other questions do you have so I can kind of put them together and give you a full view as to how you could prepare to leave America. So grab your notebook, grab a pen, and let's get into these gems.
Ellie talks money to create the better days. Business, money, life, the Ellie way.
All right, y'all, welcome back into the video. Now, let me just say this, okay? I just had a baby. So if my cheeks are looking a little chubby, not too much on me, okay? So the baby's sleeping right now. So I'm like, this is the perfect time for me to take a few moments, get back on my YouTube, make sure I check in with you guys, just kind of get back into work. So I'll definitely, be going back to going live and just really sharing how my routine has changed now having another child and a newborn. It really is different, y'all. It really is different. But anyways, this video is not about that. This video is about preparing you to move abroad. So let's get into some of the key steps. Let me just take a moment right now to talk to you about something really, really important. Within our communities, specifically the Black community, there is a shortage of life insurance. There is a shortage of people who have protected themselves and protected their families. In fact, less than 30% of Black families have any sort of life insurance. And we have to talk about this. We have to stop this. We have to make sure that we are normalizing life insurance the same way we normalize all the other things that we love in our culture and in our community. It really is so important, right? Think about it. 30% or less are covered. That means that so many individuals without the proper protection who, if something were to happen, wouldn't have what they need to make sure that their families are covered or any final expenses are covered. So I want to just take a moment to show you how easy it is to actually get the coverage that you need with Ethos. Let me show you just how easy it is to get a quote with Ethos. All right, you're going to put in your information, a few simple questions. And here's the thing, with no medical exams, you can get policies up to $2 million in coverage. And what I love here is that you can customize this to your budget so that you're paying exactly what you can pay. And that's important, right? We wanna make sure this fits within our lifestyle. You're answering a few simple health questions. You can do all this in a few minutes and get coverage the same day, right from your phone or right from your computer. This means more time for what's important to you, your kids, your business, your family. That's what counts. Do you see how easy that is? So if you have been following me or watching my videos, then I'm sure building wealth is important to you, creating a business is important to you, and leaving a legacy is important to you, where we can be protected for whatever may happen to us or anyone that we love in our family. That's why I love Ethos. That's what it's all about, right? Is making sure that you are protecting your family and ensuring a solid foundation. We can absolutely change the narrative together. We can increase the number of families in our communities that have insurance by getting started right now. So I want you to head to the link in my description, head to Ethos on your phone or on your computer, get a quote, and get yourself covered. Now, the first thing I want to talk to you about is really the importance of choosing the right country. I don't want you guys to just willy-nilly leave America and go anywhere. I know that, things are getting intense. The election is looking a little crazy. I know I'll be staying abroad for a little bit longer, and I'm sure some of you guys are starting to think, hey, I wonder if this is a good time for me to explore options. So the first thing you want to consider is, what country would you feel the most connected to, okay? And there's a few ways you can decide on this. I recommend doing an ancestry DNA test, right? You want to think about, what kind of culture do I want to be in? What kind of food do I like? Do I want to go go somewhere where I am the minority or where I am the majority? Do I want to go somewhere where I have connections to the cultural roots, where I can explore more of where I'm from? And, you know, for me, I chose Senegal because my dad is born and raised here, and I've been to Senegal multiple times as a child, so I felt connected here already. Plus, my husband is Senegalese. Now, for those of you who may not have any particular connection to a country in Africa that you know of, or any other place around the world, that's why I recommend doing an ancestry DNA test or checking with friends and family members. Where have they gone that they've enjoyed? That way you're going somewhere that has some kind of connection or familiarity to you. Because at the end of the day, you want to ensure that where you're going to be for the next 6 months to a year is someplace that you like, someplace that you're interested in, okay? Now, once you have an idea about whatever country you want to choose, the next thing that is important is for you to look into the visa requirements. Now, us being American citizens, we can pretty much travel anywhere in the world without a visa. Typically, we're able to stay 30 to 90 days in almost any country without a visa. Now, once you get past that 30 to 90 day period, depending on the country, you're going to need an extended stay visa. Now, you can typically just get this in that country. So you'll go to, you know, their travel state of affairs or whatever bureau would handle that in your specific country, get your residency visa, and then you're able to stay another 6 months, another year, and you just keep renewing that for as long as you want to stay. So the important thing is, once you choose your location, the country you want to go to, start doing the research so you can be prepared in advance of what visa you're going to need, when you're going to need it, and what that process looks like. One of my pro tips for this is to start watching vlogs and TikTok videos in, you know, these countries early, okay? And the reason why I recommend that is, you know, social media is of course a blessing and a curse, but one of the beautiful things about social media is that now we get you know, a peek into places we would have never been able to see. So, you know, if you want to move to Timbuktu or somewhere in Thailand, maybe some years ago you wouldn't have been able to see what a day in the life is like there, but now you can pull up a YouTube video, you can probably pull up a TikTok or Instagram video and get a sense. So I really recommend doing that because it gives you the opportunity to feel it before you actually arrive, and sometimes you'll get some answers to some questions there as well. All right, now this brings me to my third tip. And this is all about starting to prepare for building a community. Now, when you guys move abroad, I want you to be able to almost create a home away from home, right? Here's the thing. I was asked by, you know, another student on another video if I get homesick. And, you know, I'm here with my family, my kids, my parents come here pretty often, so I don't get terribly homesick, but I do miss some of the conveniences of America. I do miss some of the food, right? I do miss being able to just easily go see a friend, or, you know, even for me, just drive. Because I don't drive here. So I'm like, sometimes I just miss turning on my car, turning on the music, and just driving down the street. You know, so there's some things you're gonna miss. And for those reasons, you have to think in advance about how you can make your new life abroad as comfortable as possible to try to limit some of that homesickness. So when it comes to building a community, you need to start searching for expatriate or American abroad groups on Facebook. So here in Senegal, there are several, right? You're gonna go on Facebook, you're gonna search expats living in Dakar or expats living in Ghana or whatever country you end up choosing, and there will be many, many groups for you to join. Start getting in those groups, introduce yourself, ask some questions. I've always found, and again, I already have family here, but I'm in a lot of these groups, people are very helpful and they know what it's like to move abroad. So they're more than willing to help you as someone who's preparing for the move. And this is also a great place where you can start to build friendships, right? Build people who can support you in advance so that when you arrive, now you have people to meet up with. You can start to have your hobbies. If you're into pottery, you find a pottery group. If you're into yoga, you find a yoga group. You know, just starting to kind of situate what your life can look like before you actually get there. So far we've covered number one, choosing a country and really making sure you put some thought into that. that. Secondly, researching your visa requirements, what you're going to need for that country. The third step here being building your community in advance. Start looking into, other Americans who are living there, other people that you can ask questions of, and etc. My fourth tip for you guys is to begin calculating your cost of living abroad, and also begin thinking about how much do you need to save up or be prepared to generate an income to support your move abroad. Now, y'all know I'm all about making sure you have passive income. Okay, so don't worry, I've got you on that front. There's plenty of passive income streams that I'm going to help you situate both in America before you leave and online that you can still do while you're abroad. So that is additional income for you. But before you make the move, you want to consider, am I going to keep my job? If you have a work from home job or a job that's pretty much, online, you might consider keeping that job. I know plenty of Americans here who still keep their US based job and they live here in Senegal. Additionally, you might look at, this is my opportunity to say F that job, and instead save some money that's going to cover my cost of living, my basic necessities, right? Rent, food, my insurance for at least 6 months to a year. Let me go ahead and start saving that up. In some cases, depending on how big your family is, you might only need $5,000 to cover rent for 6 months. You might only need $10,000 to cover rent for 6 months to a year. But it's important to start calculating that. Now, one thing that's going to help you get an idea of what those costs are, yes, you can Google it, but I find that sometimes Google is a little bit inflated with the numbers. So the best thing is for you to use those Facebook groups of expats living in whatever country or Americans living in whatever country. So then you can ask them, hey, what's the average cost of rent? How much are you paying? I would probably need a 3-bedroom or a 2-bedroom. Can you give me an idea of how much that would cost? And now you can make, a cost of living analysis that is a lot more accurate. This is key, right? Because you want to make sure you're going to that country with enough money. And then you also want to make sure that when you and I start to set up your passive income streams, that you are generating passive income that can easily cover your rent, or that can easily cover, your food expenses, something that's going to make this process easier. One of the biggest blessings of living abroad that I've found is I'm able to save so much money. Rent in LA is crazy. I was paying $7,000 a month before to have a 3-bedroom for my 4 kids. Very pricey, very pricey. And for me, it's like, no matter how much money I'm making, I still don't know if I want to pay $7,000 a month in rent, okay? So being here in Senegal, where rent for our 5-bedroom place is $3,000 a month, is a huge difference. Okay, so you're able to save so much money so that even when you decide, I might just do abroad for 2 years and then go back. Now, when you're going back to the US, you have so much money saved up, which is a blessing because so many people in the US aren't able to save. We know that on average, people have less than $1,000 in savings, if that. So that's a really great thing too. What I want you guys to do is really take note of these first core steps, and I want you guys to comment some questions that you have about the next steps to moving abroad. Now, for my birthday, I created a global money course, if you will, which was all about how to move abroad, what passive income streams to generate, how to start businesses abroad. And it was $32 for my 32nd birthday. So I'm going to extend that deal for you guys here on YouTube. I'll make sure it is linked in the description so that you guys can get that course as well. There's a ton of great resources. It's a 2-hour long class where it goes into even more detail about what to do. All right, so drop your questions below, get the global money course, and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Like this video, and I'll see you on the next one.